Well, hello tubers! Hope you guys are doing well. Things are starting to warm up here in Western Canada, which is always nice. Nice to get a few days of cool, a few days of heat. Mix it up a little bit. The other day, Cheap RV Living, Bob Wells, he did a video and it was entitled, "Is the American Dream Your Worst Nightmare?" And of course it was subtitled on YouTube as, "Do you follow your heart or are you a good, productive citizen?" Very interesting. My first criticism of that is the claim that do you follow your heart or are you a good, productive citizen, like they're two mutually exclusive concepts. They're not. Anybody that took first year logic and philosophy could argue that one. It's pretty easy to see through that, because you obviously can follow your heart and be a productive citizen. They are not exclusive to one another where it's a fork in the road and you have to choose one or the other. It's a bunch of hooey. Of course, Bob is doing what Bob does best, acting like a preacher to the poor. And he omits a lot of food for thought, and he omits a lot of reality that is harsh, but we need to discuss today. For example, I do believe that the American dream is alive and well for everybody. Now, I'm a Canadian, but I do spend a lot of time in the US. We don't use the American dream in terms of those phrases, but we have a similar concept up here as they do in Germany, many parts of Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Everybody is living that dream of trying to prosper more and live better, and that is a pursuit worth doing. Now people think, oh gee, look at the income disparity between the wealth and blah blah blah, income disparity, income equality, asset inequality. That's always been with us. You can make a Bible quote and put that down there that can verify that that's been with us forever. You want to talk about income equality and rights equality? Come on. Ancient Greece and Rome had nothing on us today. Social spending with the welfare state, even during conservative years, have always been robust and still are robust. Even now, during this great recession that we're having, unemployment insurance top-up payments are huge. And they're extraordinary that they're happening now during this pandemic. Here in Canada, we're giving away money like a sailor on shore leave. It's amazing how governments of all kinds are spending money. So this is not necessarily a left versus right issue, because I don't see social spending stopping whenever we get a conservative government in Canada or the USA. It just doesn't happen that way. Now, of course, if it was up to me, I'm a fairly hardcore right-winger. I'm kind of laissez-faire with my political beliefs. Don't think government has any business in bailing out other businesses or people individually for most things. But let's get to the heart of the matter. The American dream is alive. In fact, the opportunities still abound. You can do whatever you want with your life if you actually quit saying to yourself, what can government do for me? And ask yourself, what can I do for my government and my society to help myself? A lot of the biggest problems that I see with people struggling, and that includes the poor, the working class, and even the upper middle classes, is that the decisions they make with their life affect them financially more than anything at all. And it has nothing to do with government. These are things you can control. And Bob Wells doesn't really talk about personal responsibility very much. He's a lot further to the left than me, so he's got his point of view, which, hey, freedom of speech, he's allowed to say it. And I'm allowed to say what I'm about to say. Your biggest challenges that you have with your life is how you run your personal affairs. For example, if you want to have an easier go at life, you need to reduce the expenses. You need to say to yourself things like, do I really need to get married? Is getting married going to help me more financially than it will be if I do not? Keeping in mind that 50% or more of people get divorced, and then you wind up making spousal support payments. Can you afford that? Do you need to sign up for that? Is that a liability potential that you really need? And after all, the government has nothing to do with your decision to be married or not. That's up to you. Which also brings me to family planning. Do you want children? If you choose not to have children, you're immediately taking the burden of probably between $250,000 to $500,000 of obligations right off the table if you don't have kids. Perhaps you feel obligated for some strange reason to have kids. There's nothing wrong with having kids, by the way, if you can afford them. But always be ready for the liability if your relationship doesn't work out and you're writing a check for child support every month and then putting those kids through university. Be prepared to pay for that, and don't whine or bitch and moan about it, because you made those decisions to take on that obligation, and I, as a taxpayer or your neighbor, shouldn't have to subsidize that because you made those choices. Again, I get back to what can you do for your own country to run your own personal affairs better. You need to take all the big expensive things off the table. Have a smaller family. Reduce that obligation. Don't even have kids at all if you don't want to. I never did, because I knew I had to choose between early retirement or having a family. To me, that was an easy choice. Perhaps for you, it's not an easy choice. Perhaps the horses left the barn. Yeah, if the horses left the barn, well, that was your choice. You got to live with it. You signed up for that obligation, and you got to pay for it. You shouldn't duck your responsibility to pay for your children. It's not everybody else's problem to feed your kids. So right off the hop, running your personal affairs by limiting how many times you get married, if at all, how many children you have, if at all, immediately you're locking in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of savings. And these savings roll into things like what you spend for your lawyer. I had a Jewish lawyer that I had to pay when I went through my divorce years ago. I had to pay for my freedom to get out of my marriage. It was money well spent. It was pure hell going through it, but I had to do it. I had to pay the man, and I had to pay the lady to get out. So, right off the top, think of all the savings you're going to have by just doing a few things of family planning. As for how you live, that's also up to you. Do you really want that big house? Do you really need 3 cars and all the maintenance and car insurance for that? That's up to you, and that is your choice. What you do with your money isn't your neighbor's problem. So if you rack up a lot of debt buying things that you don't need to impress people you don't even like, that's your problem, and you can't blame the American dream on that. Even today, people are always upgrading these fancy little devices, buying all sorts of stupid things that are made in China, supporting the communist Chinese regime, when you should just buy locally or do without. That's what I think you should do. Why not do business with your neighbors or with other Western democratic nations rather than giving that money to China? And after all, how many of these do you need? Do you need to buy a new one every year or two? No, you probably don't. How many cars do you need? I used to have several. I got rid of one of them. Didn't need it. I realized it's just stupid. And it's a waste of money. Could I have kept it? Yeah, but it would have been dumb. How many cars can you drive at one time? Yeah, exactly, 1. Now you're going to say, hey, line screw, what about me? I live in an economically depressed region of the world where there's no jobs. Okay, get your butt on a bus, get the heck out of Dodge, go where the money is. I lived in a family that moved around a lot when I was younger, chasing the economic possibilities, and that's what you got to do. You can't expect your government to just throw money at you if you're in a depressed part of North America and expect that you should just be able to stay there and they should actually either give you jobs or give you money. No, it's up to you to chase the dream. How do you think this entire continent was built? This entire continent was built on people that left Europe after World War II and came here to build a life. Many came here even earlier when it was really dangerous to get on a ship and cross the ocean. And they came here with very little money and built a life. And they didn't say, gimme, 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 once they got off of Ellis Island in New York. No, they didn't. They came here with ambition, hope, and plans. And these things are still alive very much in the American dream. You can still hope, you can still dream, and you can still work. Now, if you're looking for a very stable long-term career, the opportunities still abound. But these new neoliberal little bratty kids, they don't want to sign up for it. For example, why not serve your country? Sign up for the Marines, the Army, the Navy. Get your butt in there, climb through the ranks, get a big juicy pension at the end of your career. And often you can retire even early and get some of that free money that you earned. But the kids today, they don't want to serve their country. They want the country to give to them. Maybe you're part of one of these crazy religious belief groups that you don't think that you should serve your country. Okay, get a government job. Okay. There are so many clerking jobs or desk jobs that are quite stable in government that give you a pension with benefits. Get her done. Sign up for that. And now you're saying, well, but I can't qualify for that. I can't write the civil service exam and get in. Well, yes, you can. Spend the free time you have to improve your skills with online courses and education. Education is the great equalizer in life. It's available. The social spending for student loans and all these bursaries and programs out there, they're available if you work for them. Yeah, hard to believe. Even during conservative Trump, the social spending's still out there, so don't blame the system. The system is still here helping you. So if you want to make a list of reasons why you cannot participate in the modern economy, I guarantee you can make a long list of why you can't work, why you can't prosper. Yep, I guarantee you can come up with that list. Some of you might even put your comments down below and say why you can't. And you're going to list health problems, age, blah, 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 blah. All you need is to be positive, use that gray matter, and add a little bit of ambition. And over time, you can increase your prosperity and do whatever the heck you need to do in life. Now, Bob Wells will tell you that you can actually just sit in your van out in the desert or your RV and opt out of the American dream and be happy. Well, you're not going to be. Hate to break it to you. Oh, that was probably Bob texting me right now telling me that I'm full of crap. You can't build a society where everybody just sits on their butt. No. We need productive members of society, including the jobs that aren't necessarily fun or exciting. We still need sandwich makers. We still need people to clean the sewers. Yes, we do. We can't all just be sitting, twiddling our thumbs, hiding out in the desert or in the forest somewhere. It's not going to work. Now, Bob Wells always admits the fact that he's got a pension, six-figure income from the YouTubes, ad revenue. And when he does his videos, he has a nice shower, drives his van out to the desert, and cranks them out. So he doesn't really like competition. You don't want to encourage everybody to do what he's doing for fear that the competition might be bad for his business. I say go for it. There's people out there could kick Bob's ass and tell it the way it is and actually do quite well at it. The only opinion out there is not just a liberal opinion or a neoliberal opinion or a rhino opinion, you know, the Republican name-only opinions. There are conservatives out there that believe in the prosperity of the nation and are seeing it every day and are seeing improvement every day and believe that people have the actual stamina and the ability to improve their station in life. Now, your first step, if you want to improve your situation and you're in a very depressed economy and you're in a very depressed town, you need to quit hanging out with your loser friends that don't have jobs. You need to get out of a place that unemployment is high. You got to say, boom, hey, best of luck to you, but I'm out of here, man. I got a life to live and I got bills to pay. That's what you need to do. You ever wonder why the poor tend to hang out with the poor? That's why. The misery likes company. Well, you need to have the courage to say bye-bye, even if it's to family members. You say, look, I got to get out of here, man. I got to make a better life for myself. Now you're probably going to say, well, Andrew, yeah, you got a pension. Who cares? You know, you just sit on your ass and make money. Yeah, I do. Yeah, but Bob sits on his butt and makes money too. I just give you the actual conservative reality of it all and tell you that, you know, don't give money to people you see on YouTube. And B, Don't think of these people as religious gurus that know everything they're talking about. No, they're there to make money off of you. Selling you merch, selling you all sorts of pseudo-religious propaganda. You probably don't need that. You probably need reality. Just say it. So the moment you decide to actually take advantage of all these neoliberal spending programs to increase your training and skill level and to increase your opportunity in life, you actually can participate in the American dream. Yeah. Nobody is stopping you. I sure as heck am not going to get in your way of that. Don't think your neighbors will either. Your biggest enemy is yourself. And about the only thing that Bob Wells kind of hinted at that did make sense is there's a lot of crap you don't need to buy. If you can afford it, buy it. Otherwise, do without it, because guess what? Your life is not going to be happier the more crap you buy that you don't need. As you American folks head into a new election cycle and your inevitable election in November, you're going to hear a lot from people that are conservative that are going to say, hey, things are a lot better than they could have been if we would have had a different government. And if you don't elect me, things are going to get worse. They actually just might be right. A lot of tax and spending and business as usual hasn't really done very well. The people that are the smartest, whether they're liberal or conservative, are the people that say, I don't give a crap about what government does. I'm going to do well for myself, and I'm going to get off my ass, and I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps, and I'm going to get her done, just like the cable guy did. Get her done. Or you're just going to stay at home, mope, bitch and moan, and say, what can my government do for me? No, do for yourself and do for your country. And live the dream, participate in the dream, and get her done. I know if I suddenly needed an extra $50,000 to $70,000 this year, I know the simplest social program available to get that little extra money if I needed it. It's called a job, a J-O-B, a jobby poo. Living Free Mike knows about jobby poos. He knows about them so well that he avoids them. Oh, was that too soon to say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Hell, I've never seen so many old people working at McDonald's still, because guess what? They got ambition. Nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. It's an honest job. Is it a career? Probably not, but it pays the bills, and you're contributing to society. So that's my rant for today. I've got to counter the BS of the neoliberal Bobby there, telling you that you got to believe what he's telling you. It's the dream or my dream. No, life is a lot more complicated than that. And you can't discount the ambition that dwells in the hearts of people watching this. Because I guarantee you there's people that are going to watch this and say, damn straight, I got ambition and I can look after myself. You're going to see those comments down below. And then there's going to be people that cook up all sorts of excuses and say, I can't do it because, and then they list it all. Right? So, who are you? Are you strong and independent and willing to work hard and build a good life for yourself and your family? Or do you just want to take and have the government look after yourself? Yeah, government's the big brother that's going to look after us all. I don't trust government. You shouldn't either. So that's my rant for today. In the meantime, folks, stay safe. Keep your wheels in the ground. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.